ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Walking with J.Beau, an almost daily walking vlog. Today's walk is rather chilly. It's around 40 degrees and getting colder. Very blustery. It was very windy this morning and last night too. So we're going to do a short walk today of just a basic 5 miles. You're going to hear me sniffle today. We went shooting this morning. It was glorious. Despite the high winds and sand blown in my face, blinding me a couple of times. We shot 22s, 22 LR, also 22 long, if you've ever shot those are fun. It's kind of like a spittoon. You take a shot and you can almost count a fraction of a second before it hits the target, and it literally sounds like a little doink. And yes, they still make them. They cost a little more. And the Henry 22 lever action, you can fire shorts, longs, long rifle. If it's a 22 within reason, it'll shoot it. Highly recommend everybody get a Henry 22 lever gun. They run like butter, no issues. They're so fun to shoot. They have that classic lever gun action sound, smooth as silk. Very good quality. Beautiful American walnut. The stock, fore end. It gets the J.Beau stamp of approval. So, I'm going to go for the walk. Got about 2 hours of daylight left. And it is cold. Tonight, overnight, a few people down south that watch this want to know. It's going to be about 23 degrees overnight. It's going to be chilly. We are going to warm up a little bit in a few days. It's going to be in the mid to upper 50s. So I'm going to flip the camera around here. There's a lot of stuff going on, so let's flip this around. Hi everybody, welcome to Walking with J.Beau. So as you can see, I am dressed in several layers of clothing. Thin, well, 1, 2, 3, basically 3 layers of clothing for shirts. 2 of them are thick, and I'm not cold. But the problem is it's windy, and whenever it's windy, it's never good. It's only good, wind is always good when it's 95 degrees, hot and humid. Then it's okay. But when it's 40 degrees, it's not, because when the wind hits me when I'm walking and you see me do this, that's because wind chill. I guess we're getting down to that. 40 degrees with wind like that makes it feel like 34. So, the first thing I want to talk about today is assassination attempts. Yes, I'm talking about our beloved President Trump, President-elect. I got interesting things to talk about today I've not discussed yet. So we'll just start off with this one. Now, you probably know that the DOJ and FBI primarily said that they uncovered an assassination plot by Iran against Trump, which is probably true. But the gist of it is, from my point of view, if you are into deep state conspiracies, that is do we really trust the DOJ that's been trying to lock Trump up? No. Do we trust the FBI? Nah. So, this really has a lot of, for me, if you're a history buff, it kind of resonates with the JFK assassination, where JFK wanted to end our involvement in Vietnam, and it was during the Cold War. You had a lot of people in the military, CIA, places like that also, that wanted that war because we could not let communism spread or win because of Russia and all that stuff. If you're older, you know what I'm talking about. So a lot of people believe that JFK was gotten rid of because he wanted to put an end to that. And then his replacement was probably the worst president, one of the worst we've ever had, who was sworn in from his vice presidency. I mean, within hours. So, which is the protocol, I believe. So it's nothing nefarious there. But why do I bring this up? Well, they couldn't lock up Trump. They couldn't cause him to lose. For some reason, they weren't able to cheat in the election like they did in the past. So I don't know if that was just somebody taking advantage of the pandemic protocols we had with the mail-in ballots and saw an opportunity. But judging by this election, I really have not seen a whole lot of things that look like, did they cheat there? So I don't know why it's so different. Something's different. So anyway, let's get past that. I don't want to upset the algorithm. So anyway, we're talking about Iran, who I had read that this, I forgot his name, it's Iranian, okay? But he was supposedly in this country, contracted. He was here. He's an assassin, Iranian Republican Guard, trained professional, and supposed to be seeking revenge for taking out Trump before the election, before he could win, by assassinating him for taking out Iranian higher up, Soleimani. So, well, I have a couple of issues with it. One, he, meaning the assassin, claims that he was paid and he was holding out for more money. That's the story from the FBI, okay? That he was holding out for more money, and Iran had told him that he would have carte blanche for whatever he needed. No price was too high. So he asked for more money, and supposedly Iran said no. which I don't believe. I just don't believe that. So this guy leaves the United States and goes back to Iran. And then the story breaks. So now he has to stay in Iran because the DOJ is issuing an arrest warrant for him if he's ever seen anywhere in Europe or anywhere else in the world. And they are our allies, they will arrest him. So there's obviously a lot of fishy stuff there. But for me, I don't trust the FBI and DOJ. I just don't. And they have given us just cause to not trust them. So, if I can't trust them on that, what are they up to? Well, they haven't been able to lock up Trump. They haven't been able to stop him from winning. Now he's going to be the president. So, are they lining up a JFK type assassination for Trump with the deep state, who have no other alternative at this point? I don't know. I hope not. Is it possible? Trump said he's going to release the FBI files, everything they have on the JFK assassination. Trump also said he's going to release the Epstein client list. And RFK Jr., who his father was assassinated, and JFK was his uncle, he was assassinated. He wants to know also. So, where's this all going to lead, friends? I don't know. I have no idea. But it certainly is a thing, pretty ponderous thing to wonder, isn't it? It's very interesting. So we'll see what happens with that. You know, I would hope that that's just a conspiracy, something interesting to talk over and maybe contemplate. But what if it's true? What if that's really what's going on? And this guy that they named as an assassin that is conveniently in Iran now was just an excuse for them to establish that Iran is trying to kill him. And the reason why I bring that up is now that Trump has won the election, and then DOJ releases this after Trump won the election. That's the important thing. This was sealed. Nobody had seen it or heard it. This was just released, presumably just after Trump won. Like, So they wait until Trump wins. Not even a week. Not even 4 days. They release that. Looks fishy to me. That's all I'm saying. Why would they release that after he won? Because if he hadn't won, meaning Trump, they wouldn't have released that information. You know why? Because I think it's bogus. I think it's bunk. I think it's a setup. I think they're setting the tone for saying, see, Iran wants to kill him. And then they are going to kill Trump, but it's not going to be Iran. It'll be a deep state. I'm just contemplating, okay? I'm not spreading this information, Mr. Algorithm on YouTube. It's called thinking out loud, okay? Then what would you get from that? You would have the excuse to go to war with Iran because they assassinated a sitting president, an act of war. You would get the full support of NATO, and it would not just be a US involvement in Iran, it would be a multi-allied coalition that would stomp Iran's keister, okay, into oblivion. Now, I know a lot of people talk about, well, the terrain in Iran's all mountainous. You know, they're going to hide in the mountains. Hey, whatever. They can hide wherever they want. They won't get their capital back, I guess is my point. So, if they want to go starve in a cave like bin Laden did, well, hey, God bless them, right? So anyway, I think it's stuff to think about, isn't it? I mean, we got lied to into the Iraq war with yellow cake. We've been lied to into other wars. Why would this be different? Nothing I'm telling you is anything that would shock anybody. We've seen how bad and evil these people are. So, just something to think about. They may try to knock him off before he's sworn in. Probably would be the ideal plan, but here's the thing. If you do that, then J.D. Vance will be the president. And I don't know, but I think J.D. Vance would be pretty freaking good and somebody to not be messed with either. So, let me know what your thoughts are on that. I'd really like to hear that. So, anyways, that's my talking point for the first part of this walk. The second part we're going to talk about is the complete friggin' meltdown from the left over Trump's earthquake win. They're in sad shape. If you know any relatives you haven't spoken to in a while that are hardcore liberals, I suggest you call them, find out if they're still kicking. They might not have made it. So, they are not happy. So we got election results in Maine I'm going to discuss. It almost makes you go, see, I freaking knew they were going to do that. All right, you had Austin Terrio, endorsed by Trump here for Congress. A few months ago, I had told you guys, I don't think he has a chance to beat Jared Golden. Because, for one thing, Jared Golden's the incumbent. The only thing that he really did to really make me angry was flip-flopping on gun control. And he also voted to impeach Trump in a red district that Trump just won by 10 points. Okay? So here's the deal. The voting was being counted. It looked like Jared Golden had won by a small margin, 1 point something %. And then some ballots came in. It was 0.37% difference. And Jared Golden was under 50%. And when you have two candidates and they're both under 50%, it kicks off an automatic ranked choice voting. The problem with this election is the first time they counted the ballots, Jared Golden had the lead, small one. But, like I said, it's like they did not expect ranked choice voting in this race. Nobody expected Republicans to do as good as they did. And the people that were working for the state assumed it was a given that the Republican would lose. I don't know why they assumed that. I don't want to know. But I do know that there was a write-in slot. The write-in slot got about 1,200 votes. Problem is, there's only one write-in candidate that is approved by the Secretary of State of Maine. Forgot their name, sorry. But they lean right. So the way ranked choice voting goes, presumably, whoever wrote in that candidate, more than likely, would have their vote go to Austin, Ontario. So this would be a spectacular defeat for the Democrats who were relying on ranked choice voting, and it would actually cause them to lose. See how they like it. So the likelihood of that is there. It's possible. I don't know if it's, to me it looks very, very close either way. Pretty sure they'll need a recount regardless. So right now what they're doing is they're going through 400,000 plus ballots, and the race is basically a tie. So the issue with that is, that hill was a lot of work while I'm talking. I don't know if you remember a year and a half ago walking, that when I would come up on a hill like that while I was talking, it was a little more work than it is now. So anyway, the problem they have with the write-ins, because they had assumed that Jared Golden would just win anyway, they didn't really verify the write-ins. In fact, they didn't. The other problem they had is there are 120 something votes where nobody chose a congressional candidate at all. They just filled in the write-in, and then they chose Austin, Ontario. Most of them, they chose Austin, Ontario as their second choice and Jared Golden as their third. Because like I said, they lean right. So the write-in candidate leans right. And I said, okay, well, if our write-in doesn't work, then my vote's going to go to Austin, Ontario, the Trump-appointed, Trump-endorsed candidate. So if there are enough write-ins left because of this counting error they did the first time, they're going to have to go through and remove any ballots where no write-in was chosen at all. And they're going to count just the ones where there's a write-in. And then out of those, they're going to take the second and third choice if those were chosen, which would be a ranked choice voting win for Austin, Ontario, if there's enough votes. Either way, Jared Golden's lawyers have already stepped in. They want the state to declare him the winner without ranked choice voting, of course, because they claim it's so close, he would rather have a recount. So this is getting really messy. We're not going to know who won this congressional seat, I'm assuming, for a while, so I'm just letting you know. And if you want to follow it online, the Democrat is Jared Golden. The Republican is Austin Theriault, which is Theriault. It's French. In English, it looks like Theriault, but in French, it's pronounced Theriault because the H is silent. So, anyway, that's what we got going on here in Maine, and you can look that up with Congressional District 2, which should be listed as CD2, and sometimes it is also listed as ME2 because it's one electoral college vote, and the rest of Maine, with more of a population, has 3 electoral college votes, which Kamala Harris got. Trump already locked up the one from Maine. So now we're waiting to see who the damn congressman congressmen. There's two men, and we'll see what happens. But if you want to follow that, New York Times has a good tracker that's free with no ads. Just do a search for Maine election results, New York Times, or election tracker or something like that. And the AP also has one that's pretty decent. So I would check that out. So there's some pretty interesting things going on. Right now, the House Democrats are down. They have 200 House seats locked up. The Republicans have 212. They need 218 to have majority. The good news is the Democrats need to win more than the Republicans do. And the Republicans are doing very well in the races that aren't settled yet. So I would anticipate the Republicans picking up the 6 House seats that they need out of the 24 that are left, or whatever the number is. And the Republicans should lock up the House and give Trump Congress at least till 2026. But we will have to wait, and that's all there is to it. But it's looking good. Republicans have locked up the Senate. We have 53 confirmed seats right now, with another surprise unraveling in Arizona, which would be Kari Lake. Kari Lake was behind about 1.5 points. It was looking kind of bleak. And then outstanding ballots started coming in from red districts. She gained 40,000 seats. And now she's within striking distance. But let me tell you, Washington, D.C. hates Kari Lake because she's one of the biggest Trump supporters. They are going to pull all the stops. It's in Maricopa County, Arizona, again, where we still don't have the election results. And they're still counting ballots. It's outrageous. It's friggin' Saturday, okay? The election was Tuesday. No reason why this should take this long. So anyway, speaking of that, because most of the House seats left to be decided are out of California, every election for Congress, we end up waiting for elections in California, and they don't get decided sometimes until around Thanksgiving. So hopefully we'll have all the information we need by the end of this week coming up, and the Republicans will have the House officially. By all intent and purposes, they should have it now. But if you're one of those that won't count on it till it happens, you're more than welcome to wait till the end of next week or whatever. So that's what I got for that. Now the other thing I want to talk to you about is something really interesting. And I looked it up, it's doable. And I also read a couple articles online about it while I was researching it. And but first I'll talk about the Senate. Let's say we have 53 for the Senate. That's going to negate the rhinos. That will get rid of Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski on most of the bills that matter, that they're always wishy-washy on, confirmations, things like that. So I got other stuff to talk about on this walk. You're gonna like it. I haven't talked about it yet. So J.D. Vance will be the tiebreaker in the Senate. Okay? Just like Kamala did for the infrastructure package and climate Green New Deal, which was labeled the Inflation Reduction Act. which had actually increased inflation a lot. She signed it to break the tie as vice president. Because in those situations, when the vice president of the United States is the second head executive, and whenever they have to do anything in the legislative body, they become the Senate president, basically, just for that vote. Because that's how it works. So we got J.D. Vance, so that actually gives us a 54 Senate seat right now. So you could have Collins and Murkowski pull their bullshit like they do. Mitt Romney's not there. So we got rid of him. That's one rhino that's gone. I don't know much about the guy that replaced him. I'm not going to hold my hopes up too high. But it was pretty clear that Romney was not going to get reelected if he ran. So that is the Trump mystique, okay? So anyway, let's continue on with the Senate. Now you add Carrie Lake if she should win, which, by the way, Sam Brown in Nevada lost his election by 1%. It's a damn shame. And nobody's demanding a recount. I guess it's pretty obvious. And there's too many votes. Sam Brown is the veteran that was wounded in combat. He was burned very badly. He's disfigured. Probably seen him. Trump loves the guy. I hope Trump gives him a position in the White House because he deserves it. Anyway, he didn't win his Senate seat. Rosen in Nevada won it, a Democrat, an idiot. So, you know, most of the voting base is in Las Vegas. And Trump won basically in Las Vegas. Trump won Nevada, by the way, that's official. So that's the first Republican to win that in a very long time. And I'm pretty sure no tax on tips and no tax on Social Security probably won that for him. And they're going to have to come through with it, which they should be able to do. The Republicans have the House and the Senate, and Trump's there to sign the bills. So they should be able to do that. I don't think there'll be too much obstruction from anybody, because what kind of Democrat wants to tell them that, hey, we're voting against your no tax on tips, when the Democrats have actually floated that in the past? Which means the Democrats are going to want to tack something into the bill, but the good news is they won't have the House. So things could be really good, folks. That's all I'm saying. We have to get things set into law by Congress, because an executive pen is just going to be reversed. The next Democrat president they have, this stuff needs to be passed. So that includes school reform, the education boards, FDA, CDC. That all has to be done with congressional action and executive action in tandem. And they're going to have 2 years to do it, because I seriously doubt after 2 years, unless Trump really does amazing stuff and the country's really happy, the media doesn't have the pull it used to. They're going to try to come up with their conspiracies, like the Ukraine phone call. They're going to try to come up with stuff, and none of that's going to work anymore. They may as well forget it. So it would have worked earlier, but not now. I mean, the American public just voted for Orange Hitler, okay? The racist, xenophobic, bigot. And so obviously the American public did not fall for the bullshit, thankfully. So we're good to go, man. Let's go. So anyway, that's how things look for the Senate. Here's the other thing I wanted you to chew on, okay? what I was alluding to earlier. While researching this, I read a couple of articles. One of them was an older one about John Adams. We had, at one time in this country, in the late 1700s, we had a vice president that was also, he was also the Senate Majority Leader. So constitutionally, we can do that. So instead of having these damn rhinos and people that are career senators, whoever is made Senate Majority Leader has their hands on the purse strings and decides who gets what money when they run for election and things like that. So Ted Cruz won his election pretty easily, and Mitch McConnell gave him way too much money. And then you have people like Carrie Lake who support Trump. She didn't get any money. She raised her own money from Trump supporters and things like that because McConnell's a douchebag. So McConnell just doesn't like Trump or anybody that's associated with him. He puts on a smile in public, but you know how it is, okay? So that's what happened there. And so Sam Rosen in Nevada didn't get the money he should get either, because he was also very close to Trump. And Sam Brown lost, not Rosen, Brown. So Sam Brown lost that election in Nevada. I'm not saying it was because of money, but he only lost by 1%. It's a few thousand votes. You know, that's tough. So anyway, here's the deal, okay? Get a load of this. And this was done in the 1700s with John Adams. He was the vice president and Senate Majority Leader. Now, for the most part, being vice president is pushing the president's agenda for the public, speaking in the media, and, you know, doing interviews, and basically just being an ambassador for the president. Doesn't really do anything, really. He'll be in the room when these decisions are made for military things, and, you know, that's important. But being a Senate Majority Leader, you can control what comes onto the floor for legislation, where the money goes for elections, which candidates get the money, and you can fully control the agenda for the sitting president. And every single friggin' time we have a Republican president, we always have a majority leader who inserts himself into the process to wield his own power by saying, no, we're not going to do that, we'll do this. He plays politics, lies, backroom deals. And I trust J.D. Vance. I think J.D. Vance, who's been in the Senate and he's seen the BS, albeit a new senator, very sharp guy, obviously. I think he would be a great American story to be the Vice President and Senate Majority Leader for our greatest president, President Trump. And I'd really like to know what you think of that. Because it's been done before. It could be done. Trump would just have to contact the senators and say, look, we need to make this happen. We have a lot of stuff we're going to do. This is what we're going to do. And we need to have this. We can end this Democrat bullshit forever. And I don't talk about rigging the system against Democrats. I'm talking about fixing the system so it is actually democratic. Draining the swamp, okay? How many times have people been talking about that, saying it, and it never gets done? So, when you have the Senate Majority Leader, they could have things like term limits and all kinds of stuff like that that normally would never see the floor. So, it's food for thought. Will that be done? I don't know. I think Rick Scott in Florida has a chance to be Senate Majority Leader, but in all likelihood, it's probably going to be John Cornyn out of Texas. I hate that guy. He's a rhino. It'll be more of the same with McConnell. It'll be the same thing. But he's got seniority. He's got connections. He knows the people that have the money. And I've said it on this walk a million times. Money talks and suckers walk. And Trump would probably have to cash in some of his clout. He'd have to make promises. But it could be done if the promises aren't ridiculous and outrageous. So, in other news, while you're thinking of that, protests erupted in New York City today with a whole bunch of people chanting to get rid of Trump. And a large portion of the crowd were migrants, illegals. They don't want to go. So they're protesting. And the liberals, the virtue signaling liberals, don't want them to go. Because they want to sit around a campfire singing Kumbaya at $2 trillion a year to take care of these people. Or whatever the number is. Care less at this point, it's too much. So, Mayor Adams in New York is suspending their food cards after again having a conversation with Trump on the phone. So Trump is going to deport, okay? He's going to start off with the violent ones, the ones that have been arrested for assault, crimes, burglary, and they're going to be gone. Now, I've already seen some Democrat mayors saying, including Gavin Newsom in California, and what's her face in Massachusetts, a woman, I forget her name. They have sworn to obstruct Trump as much as possible, and you're going to have lawsuits filed. You're going to have the state attorneys generals across the country in blue states file motions, and this is what I was telling you. If we win, we can expect it. They're going to file lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit to obstruct Trump as much as possible. The plan would be to slow down his agenda, to slow walk it until 2028 gets here, and hope they get a Democrat in there and have the least amount of Trump damage done as possible. That's their thinking. That's what they're going to do. That was expected. It took Trump a year and a half just to build a wall. And then before it was done, we had COVID hit. And all the work on it stopped. So, you know, it's going to be tough, okay? These people, it's not bad enough that they just lost this election because of what they're doing and what they're planning on doing. They just lost for that reason. So this is going to hurt them even more in the long run. But that is what they're going to do, okay? They've already made it clear. But here's the thing. If Trump invokes that law, okay, and then Republicans have the House and the Senate, and then somebody files a lawsuit, Congress can just go ahead and pass laws saying whatever. They'll make it happen. So the American people gave Trump the House and the Senate, and they need to use it. So, and from listening to Charlie Kirk, if you're not familiar with Charlie Kirk, he is an advisor for the White House currently, a good one, very smart guy, and his main thing is this woke politics, and he's advising, and I saw him on the Megyn Kelly show yesterday, and he was talking about how the administration, he goes, I can't really let too much out, but there's going to be big changes to our educational system. It's going to hit hard and fast, he said. And a lot of people aren't going to like it. But it's going to happen. And it's also going to be made known that if you do not go along with this agenda, you're going to lose your federal money. We have the Republicans in the House, Republicans in the Senate, and the President through executive action. Between a combination of all three of those, pretty much Republicans are going to have carte blanche to get what they have to get done. So that's the good news. The other good news is the media is going to be rabid on it. They're doing it now. They're already calling Elon Musk a shadow president, and Trump is having a bromance with Elon, and Elon is influencing the president-elect. Elon's not elected. Ooh, the horror. So they're already starting to get back into it, realizing that they did lose very badly. There's no angle there they can use. So now it's just going to go back to smearing Trump and his administration, because that's really worked for them already, hasn't it? See where I'm going here? The American people ain't going to believe it, so it's all for naught. Trump was president before. The people already know how he is. So they're at a disadvantage, PR-wise. And that's all there is to it. We're in a good spot, friends. This is really good. So I'm going to flip this around. I just wanted to share that stuff with you. Very interesting. What's going on, man? This is great. We're going to be going into something we've hardly ever seen before. Hardly ever. Even the mighty Bill Clinton didn't have the Senate. And he had to capitulate and compromise to get anything done in the 90s. And we ended up locking up black people for marijuana charges, and 3 strikes you're out, and really horrible things like that, pushed by Joe Biden. And it's really unfortunate. That was done before the Republicans got the Senate. But anyway, there was a problem at the time with crime. I remember subways being graffitied. People were angry about the crime. Something had to be done, which is kind of like what you see now. So you're going to see a lot of things that the Republicans are going to have to do. And they had better not have their fucking heads up their asses. They need to be unified on a mission, and they need to get it done. They need to complete President Trump's Agenda 47. You can research that online if you want, Agenda 47. Not Project 2025, that's garbage. The real agenda is Agenda 47. That is what they're going to be doing. They are going to have lawsuits filed against them from everybody and everywhere. But that's to be expected in a democracy. So, bring it on, man, bring it on. But like I said, we have the House and the Senate. We should be able to make some stuff happen, because when Congress passes it, it's the law. That's it, if it's constitutional. So, that's it. There's going to be arguments about whether immigrants have constitutional rights, which they don't. Right? Might end up in the Supreme Court. So these things take a while. Now here's the other thing I want you to chew on, I haven't talked about yet. I always try to stay interesting on my walks. All right, what would you do? You just won the White House. What is one of the most important things right now that the Democrats are trying to get rid of? They're trying to get rid of the Supreme Court. They keep discrediting the court, saying it's stacked, it's biased, it's this, it's that, it's corrupt. They went after the justices personally. Clarence Thomas and Justice Alito are old men now. Okay? And before I get into that, Sotomayor, the Democrat who is on the bench on the Supreme Court, is reportedly having health problems. She's got diabetes. She's 70 years old. And I already know from personal experience of losing my mother when she was 63 years old, how devastating diabetes can be if it is type 2 and it is a severe diabetes. So, Justice Sotomayor was appointed by Obama, and she's getting old. Clarence Thomas is getting old. Justice Alito is getting old. Now, everybody remembers how much panic there was with the Republicans when Justice Scalia died of a heart attack. This is something to really worry about, okay? This is probably the most important thing after Trump wins this election that they must take care of. Now, if you remember Justice Ginsburg, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, she didn't want to step down. She thought Hillary Clinton was going to win, okay? And she didn't. Trump won. What happened after Trump won? Ruth died. They had to fill the Supreme Court spot, and we got Kavanaugh. Then we had Justice Barrett and Gorsuch. So Trump appointed 3 Supreme Court justices that will be alive 40, 50 years from now, hopefully. Maybe 40 years anyway. They're relatively young people. And Justice Alito is not, and neither is Clarence Thomas. Either one could die at any day now from anything, or not. Now, while we have Trump in the White House, while we have the Senate, who is going to do the confirmation of Trump appointees for the Supreme Court, wouldn't it behoove somebody to contact Alito and Clarence Thomas and say maybe they should step down for the good of the court because we want to put in younger people to extend their legacy? You get where I'm going? So then you would have Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, Barrett, 2 more appointees for Trump. That would be 5 Supreme Court justices appointed by Trump, and it would be solid for the next 40 years. That is how important that is. Because what I think is going to happen is I think Sotomayor is going to be asked by the Biden White House to step down before she dies, because Trump got elected. Sotomayor may not want to, but the facts are what they are. She hasn't been feeling well. She's sick. They might ask her to resign while the Democrats have the Senate. You see where this is going. So they can put somebody on the bench, and everybody has to hope and pray that it's not fucking Kamala Harris, which it could very well be. That would be just like her to fall into a sewer and come up clutching a gold watch. She's done it her whole career. So, how's that for stuff to think on today? Did I touch any funny bones? Did I touch any nerves? Did I get you to think about this? I'm gonna head down this way where it's quieter and flip the phone around. GoPro. Isn't that some wicked awesome stuff to think about? You see why I follow this stuff? And you can see why, this is why it's important for any average citizen like me, I'm just a nobody, to learn up on this stuff, how it works, read the Constitution, the processes, what's involved. And then when you run into people like Chris, like I ran into on my Woods Walk Gun Talk number 34, who have their head up their keister. Nice guy. He was a nice guy. He's a veteran, war veteran, Vietnam War. He didn't specify what branch of service, but who cares, right? He served, did a good job, I'm assuming. He hated Trump. He repeated every talking point that the liberal media talks about, CNN and MSNBC. Trump is unhinged. He's this, he's that. He's got dementia. This guy was bought and sold by the media. I have no idea how people can allow themselves to be that brainwashed by the media. You should never trust the media, any media, ever. Always trust but verify. What does trust by verify mean? All right, you put it on MSNBC. Oh, Trump's a rapist. He's this, he's that. He's a rapist. He is a rapist. He's been convicted of rape. So, okay, well, you can trust that on his face, but you should take it your own onus on yourself to educate yourself, inform yourself, to go research that. Maybe look at the actual made public legal documents from the courtroom. It says right on the document, alleged sexual assault or sexual misconduct. That's what it was. It wasn't even sexual assault. It was alleged and could not be verified. It was a civil case. All you had to do was get the jury to believe it. A jury full of people that hate Trump in New York. It's not hard to put one of those together. So they said he was guilty. And it was said right in the court filing that Trump was not charged with or convicted of any form of rape whatsoever. It says it right there in the court docs. There's a little box next to it. Rape? Nope, it's not checked. It says no next to it. So, it most certainly was the activist judge after the trial, talking to the media, said that I personally believe that he did that and he raped her. That's all the media needed, and that was the story. So I know this because I researched it. I didn't trust some idiot on TV. That's my point. So trust but verify. Hope that explains it well. There's literally 1,000 examples of it having to do with Trump, from the find people on both sides hoax to, I mean, pick something. Drinking bleach to treat COVID. That was a really big lie. And you had a media at the time that didn't care. Now they have lost revenue and they have lost viewers. And CNN fired people, but they didn't fire the people they should have. People like Dana Bash, that friggin' brunette on there that hates Trump. She's always bitchy to him. And Jim Acosta. Anderson Cooper has toned it down. He's coming across more in the middle. So has Wolf Blitzer. But the other people on there, they have contracts. You know, people don't realize, people like Rachel Maddow on MSNBC, she's getting paid $30 million a year. $30 million. And she doesn't even have her show anymore. She just comes on there. She does I think she does one show a week or something like that. So, you know, they're going to say whatever the network tells them to say, whether they believe it or not. If they tell her to come on and say that Trump is really an alien, he's an alien lizard with a fake rubber skin on him, they'll come out and say it. And they'll try to be convincing. They want their $30 million. And that's how it works. I hate to say it, but that's the truth. The media is dead. It's gone. You can no longer trust anything they say. So I'm urging you, please. And this goes for Fox News. It goes for all the corporate media, all of it, legacy media. It's all garbage. That includes the newspapers like New York Times, Washington Post. They're all biased. They're biased to the left, horribly, irreparably, probably, because the people that own it are rabid lunatics. So it's a problem. But in the end, I don't know if you remember what I said about a year and a half ago, maybe a year ago, one of my walks, I seem to remember that. I said that in the end, they're going to poison their own product, destroy themselves, and they're going to help get Trump reelected. And that's what happened. Now they can't come on and call Trump Hitler and all this other stuff because the people, the majority, just said, we don't believe you. And they voted for him. Because nobody in their right mind in this country would vote for a dictator or a Hitler. Not even an orange one. So we're in good right now, folks, I'm telling you. We're going to get to when he's sworn in, start getting this going. So from now until then, we're going to pray for his safety. Somebody's going to try to do something to him. You just know it. I'm not saying it'll be the deep state. It'll probably be another nut, hopefully. That'll be easier to take care of. And so we will watch what happens, right? So I hope you found the Supreme Court discussion interesting, because nobody really talks about it. But look how glorious an opportunity that would be right now to solidify the court for the next 40 years with 5 conservatives. I think it would be smart, but that would be up to Thomas and Alito. Both of them have been on the bench for a long time. You know, Thomas is in the 70s. You know, he probably wants to retire while he can still enjoy his money. This would be a great opportunity for them to see an opportunity to retire without feeling like they're leaving the country vulnerable, okay? You know what I mean? Because they love the country. So, call it a prediction if you want to. I think that'll happen because there's not going to be another opportunity for a long time, probably. And we don't want to end up with a majority of lunatics like AOC on the bench, do we? We already got one with that black woman that Biden appointed. Jackson, I think her name is. So, I'm gonna have to watch, see what happens. Anyway, what a time to be alive, huh? I know I always end up saying that, but who would have thought we'd have all this stuff going on in our lifetime? I didn't. You know, I've spent a lot of time saying, boy, I'd love to see the country the way it used to be. Well, I think we can do that again with gravy on top, because the way it used to be wasn't perfect either. We can actually make it better. So anyway, we're going to have more protesting as we get closer to January, and we're going to have these governors in states that are blue start rattling their sabers against Trump like they're already starting to. And you know, they're going to activate the base, and they're going to go out and protest, and hopefully nothing stupid happens, but I'm pretty sure something will. And you know, because Trump said if there's any rioting and shenanigans, he would use the military to end it quickly. Which is really funny, because Biden sent a directive to the Pentagon, I told you guys about that on our walk, that he has authorized the military to use lethal force against civil disobedient citizens. So somebody will have to determine what's a riot that requires lethal force and what isn't, which makes it dangerous. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that directive now that Trump won, because they had that directive in there because they assumed Kamala would win and Trump would stage an insurrection or something, or a planned riot or violence or whatever other stupid, ridiculous thing they thought would happen, which wouldn't have happened. But I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Look at that, somebody's got solar panels leaning against their building. I don't know if those are going to go up on the roof or if they're going to leave those there. That's weird. As you can see, we're getting to dusk. It's going to be dark soon. It's going to be dark soon. So we will walk on this way. Walk is going to be winding down shortly. Hope you enjoyed the walk and the talk today. I really did. I mean, this is a lot of actual stuff. It's factual. It's all stuff that can happen. It's not too far out there. Alrighty, head on up. I'm going to head on up the road. Head on up the road. Ooh, it's starting to get chilly now. Sun's going down. Yes, sir. I gotta pause this for a second. I will be back shortly. All right. Hi. Across the street. Had to do a pit stop. That's all I gotta say about that. It could not wait. That's the downside of being a coffee drinker. Well, anyway, hopefully you got to think about a lot of things that I mentioned. I'll bring this around here. I mean, seriously though, think about that, right? That's all stuff we could see after Trump is sworn in. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the sentencing coming out November 26th. Most experts seem to agree that Jack Smith has finally submitted an official motion, and it was approved by a judge either today or yesterday, that the charges, the cases against Trump would be dropped because he is now president-elect. The DOJ is not going to prosecute somebody that's been elected the president. So that's gone. The state of New York sentencing, November 26th, though, that is a state issue. And unless Kathy Hochul intercedes and pardons Trump, Screwball Marchand will be able to sentence him if he so chooses, which at this point I don't think would be very wise. He could sentence him, he probably will, and he won't give him any jail. And it won't be anything to prevent Trump from being president. The Constitution doesn't care if you're a criminal, it's not listed in it. So, with that, I believe he's going to sentence him just to make him a convict. Because if the Democrats do get the House, they might try to pass some kind of legislation barring people that have committed crimes from holding any office, which would then have to be sued, and it would end up with the Supreme Court. Trump is the president-elect. It would interfere with our republic. It would cause too much turmoil, and I just don't see any of that happening. But that's not going to mean that they're not going to try it, because what else do they have besides killing him? So we'll have to watch like everybody else, but I'm not anticipating any earthquake decisions by Marchand. Even somebody like him, who is a rabid partisan and hates Trump, I don't believe he would be that bold. That would be pretty much it for him, for one thing. And I think everybody expected Trump not to win the election. They seem to really believe that. They're out of touch with the country. They watch Rachel Maddow and Joy Reid, and they believe all the bullshit you see on CNN, ABC, CBS, NBC. But you might, on the other hand, believe everything the media said and do his duty to sentence him to jail. So nobody knows the answer to that except Marchand. So, and I say Marchand because that's a French name. Okay, it is. People have been calling him Marchand or whatever, but French would be, it'd be like Brad Marchand, plays for the Bruins. And this is Marchand. So, I'm sticking with it. I'm Franco-American, I'm allowed. Just like if you're Latino, whenever you get to the word Latino, you get to say Latino to sound like you're Latino. So I say Marchand because I'm Franco-American. So anyway, I don't really anticipate much to come out of New York with that. They got beat, okay? But Letitia James did hold a press conference saying that she's going to use the full authority of the law in the state of New York against anything Trump wants to do with immigrants, which is going to be nothing, okay? Because Trump will be using a law passed by Congress. It's constitutional. It won't be Trump's executive pen, okay? So this is going to happen. There are going to be deportations. And, you know, they get really rabid about this stuff. Look at Youngkin in Virginia. He was doing the same thing that Tim Kaine did a progressive Democrat when he was governor of Virginia, which was taking illegals off the voter rolls. That is literally the job of the governor and the government of a state, to make sure everything adheres to the law and we have election integrity. But because Trump, you know, Trumpity Trump, all sanity goes out the window. It's called Trump derangement syndrome. A lot of people suffer from it, and as Trump says, it's probably terminal in a lot of cases. So, Youngkin had to go to court. And now, because he easily won his case with the Supreme Court, any state in the country can purge their voter rolls of illegals, and it cannot be illegally argued now. So, Trump's going to have to go through that too. He's going to have to figure out legally which is going to take the longest to get done and what is going to be the most difficult to get done. And he has a choice. He can either do a whole bunch of easy stuff at the beginning, or he can go ahead and tackle the hard stuff, knowing that it's going to take a while to get what he wants, and people might get uneasy waiting because the media is going to start talking about he's not getting anything done. He's a failure. So he does have a nice dream team. So maybe they should walk and chew gum at the same time and knock this stuff out of the park, do the hard stuff and the easy stuff. Just let everything fall in. We'll find out what we see, won't we? So anyway, I think that's all I have to discuss tonight. We talked about assassination attempts, we talked about Iran, we talked about Supreme Court, we talked about Congress, we talked about the Senate, and different possibilities as vice president and Senate leader. And I also veered off to go use Mother Nature in the woods. So this has been a robust, full walk, I would say. Hope you enjoyed it. And hope you find me somewhat entertaining, hopefully in a positive way. And but there are some critics out there sometimes. I aim to please. So I'm going to cross over here as soon as these cars go by, or at least one car. And you know, you might notice something from my walk you haven't heard from a while. Is for a while there when I'd go on my walk, I'd say, oh, my back's bothering me, this is bothering me, and I kind of like push my way through it because I have a disc problem in my back. It's been there since 2005. Hasn't been bothering me. I think all of these walks are settling things in place. The muscles in my lower back are adapting to walking because it has to. And so it's been very good, actually. I haven't had my heel bothering me. When I started this walk, my big toe on my left foot felt a little strained. It's getting worked out. Gets a workout every day walking, you know. So anyway, I guess we can wrap this up. I hope you've enjoyed it. I certainly have. I really have. And you can see behind me, the sun's going down. It's going to be dark in about 20 minutes. Half hour maybe, if that. And stay safe, everybody. Say a prayer for Trump and his administration. Keep everybody safe. Elon, RFK, all of them. You have to remember, Elon is not a Secret Service protectee. He has his own security. So I don't know how they're working that out. If he's going to go in the White House, they have to have security clearance. So he can worry about that later. But anyways, God bless you and your families. Say a prayer for Trump and the administration and this country. We've been praying for the country. They've been answered. I think God's not done with this country yet. we're getting another chance, and we need to make it good. And I think Trump was chosen for that purpose, and he was spared in Butler because you know, he's protected. Hopefully that continues. So anyway, everybody, we will talk to you later. Thanks a lot for walking with me, and thanks a lot for winning with me. We all won. We did it, all of us together. It was great. So until the next walk, friends, have a good night. Bye bye, folks.